We're back here on Up to the Minute on NFL Network. Kareem Hunt there in Berea, Ohio, participating in the Browns' organized team activities today. No Odell Beckham Jr. there today. He was there yesterday, but we have a chance to hear from Kareem Hunt for the first time since he arrived in Ohio after his departure from the Chiefs on the heels of that video of him striking a woman in a hotel that came out within the past couple of years. Here's Freddie Kitchens about the impact that Kareem Hunt can have on this team in 2019.
Everybody in life is messed up, all right? And not everybody gets second chances, and he understands the gratitude of the second chance and what he has to do with it. And I think he's making the most of it. He really is. And there's a difference in coming back, getting a second chance, and just doing what you're supposed to on the field and going home and just being good, okay? But he's doing more than that. He's trying to have some outreach about him, about what he's doing, and his mistakes. He hasn't denied anything. He owns up to it. And but he also understands that's a platform to get better and affect other people.
So Hunt's set to miss the first 8 games off of a suspension as a result of that incident. Let's get back with Kim Jones, Mike Garafolo, and Steve Wyche. Kim, let's start with you, looking at who's the biggest part, what's the biggest key for the Browns in 2019 as far as a person, be it a coach or a player?
To me, it's that guy, Patrick, who we just heard from, and that's Freddie Kitchens. He was so impressive at the April 1st press conference when they introduced Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry and Baker and Myles Garrett sat on the podium with Odell. But before that, I think it was before that, it doesn't matter. Freddie Kitchens also talked to us. And he said that he will never let the media draw a line in the sand between him and a player. And that resonated with me because I think that if he gets that part of it, he's ahead of some coaches who are in big markets with lots of media interest, because that can happen. We all know examples of it. We've seen it live and in person. But Freddie Kitchens has a lot to do in terms of the coaching, but also managing everything that is around what is now a very talented Cleveland Browns roster.
Kim, I'm right there with you. I mean, Freddie Kitchens, to go to your point, at his introductory news conference, when he was hired as a full-time head coach, he actually did draw the line of expectations when he says, I'm sick and tired of people thinking that 7 wins is something positive around here. So he's basically saying we have to be better than that to feel good about ourselves. And besides, like you said, organizing a whole team, because he was the offensive head coach. Greg Williams was the interim head coach last year. Besides doing all the things a head coach has to do, he has now got to design an offense that we know there's a ton of talent for. There's a lot of pieces. But an offense that has film on it from last year. He's got to be more creative with Baker Mayfield. Figure out how to get Odell and Landry and Njoku and all those pieces the ball, and how to incorporate Kareem Hunt when he's eligible to come back in Week 9. I know a lot of people are saying that Nick Chubb is the guy who could be the most affected in that backfield. It likely could be Duke Johnson because of Kareem Hunt's ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, who could be most affected. You know, that's things that Freddie they've really got to manage right there. And he's got John Dorsey to have his back, the general manager. But to me, it's the head coach who's got to deal with all these moving parts and learn on the job because, again, this is his first time doing this.
Yep.
All right, maybe I'm trying to be too smart for the room here, but I'm going to go on the other side of the ball. I'm going to go with the defensive coordinator.
Don't try that, Mike.
I'm going to go with Steve.
Don't try that, Mike.
Yeah, I'll fail every time. Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, because I really do believe that the talent for the Browns right now leans toward the offensive side of the ball. Now, this draft, they addressed the defense. Cornerback, linebacker, safety, linebacker, I believe they went in rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5, their first 4 picks there. So clearly they are building for the future on the defensive side of the ball. They traded away Jabril Peppers to the Giants, whom folks in that building thought was going to be a really key part of their defense. So I think Wilks has got to create some magic to keep this team competitive. They're going to score. What are they going to be able to do defensively? I think is the biggest key for the Browns.
I got to jump in here, Mike. Look at that defensive line. They might have the best defensive line in the NFL with Myles Garrett and Ogunjobi. They got Sheldon Richardson traded for Olivier Vernon. And the one thing I will say about the talent that they put together there, they've got some pretty high marquee names and some glamour. These are grinders. These are people who put in so much time and play every down like it's their last. And in talking to Dorsey and Alonzo Highsmith and Elliott Wolf, how they're putting this roster together, they want guys who, no matter what the weather is, how they feel, whatever, are going to be out there grinding. Sure, maybe OBJ's not at all the voluntary workouts, but you know that dude is doing something to get better. Everybody else, these are true blue-collar, lunch-bail type players, and these are the guys that Steve Wilks likes to coach. I think there's significant talent on the defensive side of the ball that really balances out what they have on offense. They're loaded up front on that defense.
And which is the problem, Steve?
Hey,
go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say another thing that Freddie has said, and he said it that day when they introduced Odell. He said, yes, we have a lot of talent, but we have a lot of players who have done a lot of losing. And I thought for him to bring that up, it wasn't a question. He brought it up that day, indicates a coach who has a lot of awareness and self-awareness about his roster and his program. They have a ton of talent, guys. I had someone in the NFC, not the Giants, since I'm in this room today, I will tell you that, not the Giants, but someone in the NFC who texted me, he won't be surprised if the Browns are in the Super Bowl. And that person isn't alone in this league. So Freddie knows what he has, but he also knows what he doesn't have. And he doesn't yet have a winning culture. And I know we overuse that, but that's going to be vitally important that is instilled and that it sticks in Cleveland with those players.
And the question, perhaps the difficult one in coming up with as we go through Freddie Kitchens and his relationships, because people might suggest that, well, perhaps there's too many personalities. Well, we saw the way Freddie Kitchens handled Odell's arrival, saying he'll be here. He just got traded. A lot's changed in his life. Give him some time to show up. So maybe that's not a big issue. So, Mike Garafolo, what might be the biggest issue for the Cleveland Browns in 2019 as that question sounds?
I'm catching texts already from inside that building. They're already, you're going to put pressure on the defense, huh? Exactly. No, I'm just, what was your question? I'm sorry, I was laughing at this.
What could the problem be? You said previously, it might be Steve Wilks is the most important. Is that it? Is that the potential problem, the cog that could be in the works?
I didn't say Wilks is the problem.
Because we got to pick one, right?
He's got to. You've got an offensive-minded head coach who's a year away from making that jump up to coordinator and working with Baker Mayfield. Steve Wilks is going to have to hold it down, and he can hold it down on that side of the ball, by the way, Mr. Texter, who's texting me right now. But look, you've also got all these personalities here, and you've got Freddie Kitchens, who's a guy that's really good at connecting with players. I think they're really going to appreciate his personality. How much is he going to have to discipline? How much is he going to have to be the old players coach in their corner? He's going to have to navigate a lot. Remember, that was a jump for him up to the offensive coordinator. He's been a coordinator before, but an offensive coordinator in that kind of role where he had complete control of the offense. Now he's got complete control of the team. That might be an element that you're going to have to watch here. I believe he can do it, but we'll see. It's early in his tenure.
Real quick, and this is to Kim's point, who's the veteran leader on this team? Who is the guy who's going to say, here's what we need to do, here's what we have to do when we face this circumstance? That is what they do not have, because the veterans on that team like Vernon or Garrett, these are quiet guys, okay? They don't have that dominant personality except for Baker Mayfield. And we know Baker's got that magnetism. So if Baker can convey that all the way through, then they'll be fine. And from everything we've seen out of Baker, he does seem like that guy, but they don't have necessarily that veteran in any position group that can settle everything down when adversity strikes.
Well, definitely not a guy who's shy. He's willing to speak his mind. In fact, we'll have a chance to hear from Baker Mayfield. He has just stepped to the podium in Berea, Ohio. That's coming up next here on Up to the Minute.